So, you have your first cat, your starter cat, the cat that gets you started as a breeder. But where do you get more? Hi, I'm Pamela, and if you're new here, I breed British Shorthairs in Perth, Western Australia. I have a passion for cat breeding and I'm here to share my experience and knowledge with you. This video is part of a series designed to help people new to the hobby, but if you've been breeding a while, stick around as you might just pick up a tip or two. In this video, I'm going to talk about what people used to do, what people are doing now and why it's not working, and what are some alternatives that might be worth trying instead. Whether you've been in the cat fancy as long as I have or you're a new breeder, you've probably heard the same piece of advice. If you want to breed cats, you should get a show cat, a D-sex show cat. Take it to shows and show it. The idea is that people would get to meet you, get to know you, and that magically you'll be able to buy as many cats as you want because everybody will be willing to sell them to you. This advice didn't even work for me 17 years ago. The reason it doesn't work now is because you might go to a cat show and find out that you're the only person there with a cat of that particular breed. So what are people doing now? What breeders do now is look up Facebook and Google and find other breeders that they can contact. The problem is they're the most established breeders, the show breeders, sometimes even the very top breeders. These are the breeders that have published a way for you to contact them, so everybody does. So you go online onto Facebook, you find these breeders and you contact them. You tell them all about yourself and you tell them that you're looking for a new breeding cat and would love to buy one of theirs. And they say no. Why? The first reason might be restrictions. What are restrictions? This is where one breeder sells a cat to another breeder and says, you can or can't do these things with this cat. In some cases, it might be you can't breed a cat and sell it for breeding. They may say you have to breed forward a certain number of generations. They may say that you can only sell female cats. They may say that you're restricted and not able to sell cats in a certain area or region. There might be restrictions on the associations that you can sell to. There may be a restriction that says you just can't sell to anybody on a day ending in a Y. Another reason established breeders will often say no is because they don't have the time or the inclination to help a new breeder. It can be a bit of a big deal. It's not as easy as just selling a cat to another established breeder who already knows what to do and won't really be asking many questions. It takes a special kind of breeder to want to help a new breeder. Some breeders, especially very established breeders, top breeders, show breeders, don't want to share a lifetime of hard work with a new person. Okay, so some breeders say no, but some breeders just don't reply at all. Why is that? Well, they don't have to. It's actually just a hobby. Yeah, it might seem a little bit rude, but it's not a business. Think of it as a dating app, or maybe a friend's request from a stranger on Facebook. People don't respond, and that's okay. Just because you send someone an email asking them about a breeding cat doesn't mean they have an obligation to reply to you just because they're a breeder. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Not every cat breeder is a people person. Now, breeders who have a bit of a profile, like myself, get hundreds and hundreds of inquiries about kittens a year and a lot of breeding inquiries. Some breeders just get sick of replying, especially when they don't have any kittens available to sell. It's the reason I made this video. My answer is almost always no. I do have cats with restrictions and I have other reasons for choosing not to sell breeding cats to new people. But it leads to conversations because I really genuinely do want to help new people. The problem is these conversations do take up a lot of my time and I do find myself saying the same thing over and over. So I can understand why other breeders who do get the same amount of inquiries would have trouble keeping up and replying to everybody. So, what are the alternatives? Well, if you've already got that starter cat, What about that cat's breeder? They sold you one cat. Can they sell you another unrelated cat? Do they have another male that's unrelated to your female? Maybe you could get a stud service. Then you can breed yourself your own new cats. If breeders don't have kittens to sell you, what about a mating? Again, it's a great way to breed your own new cats. I have restrictions on several of my males. That means I can't sell cats for breeding from them. But some of my boys don't have restrictions, and I've been able to help other people by letting them have a stud service from my cat. They've then gone on to breed their own new kittens from them. And here's something I think is a really good idea. Find other new breeders. Now this might be a bit tricky because chances are, being new breeders like yourself, they don't have a Facebook page and they don't have a website yet either. So how do you get around that? Make your own. Fill it with photos of you going to shows, news about your cats, pictures of your kids with your cats, pictures of your cats being cute. Just get out there and make yourself a profile. Let other new breeders find you and maybe you can work together. They might have a stud cat that you can use, or they may have an upcoming litter and be willing to sell you a kitten. Just a word of warning about swap arrangements where you get one of their kittens and they get one of your kittens. Now, these are never ever even. What do I mean by that? Well, chances are one of you is going to get a better kitten than the other. One of you might have to wait longer than the other to get your kitten. You might give them a kitten and then have to wait for them to give you one back till next season if the right kitten isn't born. So you need to go into a swap arrangement fully aware that you might not get the outcome you want, and you might end up giving something away and not necessarily getting something back the same in return. It can be a really good idea, but you do need to be super careful because if things go wrong, it can lead to bad blood, and nobody wants that right at the beginning of your breeding journey. Contact your association. Breeders like to help people within their own association more than they do people outside of their association. You can also find out if there's any other new breeders of your breed that maybe you could get in contact with. Sometimes the people that are running your association will be helpful and facilitate an introduction for you with maybe an established breeder who might be willing to help, maybe not with a kitten, maybe with a stud service. And remember what I said before about that old advice of going to a show and showing a D-sex cat and how that doesn't work anymore? Well, shows are actually still a way to open doors and source breeding cats. If you go to a show and show the cats you have, entire D-sex, companion cats, pet cats, whatever, and you help, go to show setup, put tables up, help out in the kitchen, empty the judges' bins, pack up your tables at the end of the show, stack a few chairs, stay till the very end and clap during the award ceremony. If other people in the cat fancy see you and see your enthusiasm, something special will happen. When you do something for someone, it's human nature that they're going to want to reciprocate. I've connected new people, not necessarily British Shorthair breeders, with other people I know just because I've wanted to help. In fact, I met one of my good friends at a cat show when she was a new breeder. She impressed me as she was very helpful. She packed up at the end and she said, "I'm going to stick around. I just want to see how you go in the finals." She's since gone on to have 2 litters of kittens to 2 of my boys. Actions and gestures can go a really long way. So get your socials sorted, get helping out at cat shows, find ways to connect with new breeders, and work together to help start you on the way to breeding and owning the cat of your dreams. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'd love for you to share it with other people who might be new breeders and looking for some advice. And make sure you hit subscribe.